So in between the Kabbalat Shabbat service this evening and the evening service, we're going to have our little study session. In rabbinic literature, one of the things the rabbis love to do is ask the question, which is the most important verse in the Torah? Right? To which there isn't a correct answer. There are many answers. And that's why the rabbis love the question, because they can play with it. The most famous answer is one that says, V'ahavta l'recha kamocha. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. And the rest is all commentary. Right? You learn how to love your neighbor, that's the most important verse. Everything else builds upon that. Well, there's a verse in tomorrow's Torah reading. It's not one of the most important verses in the Torah, but the interpretations that rose from this verse, from the rabbis asking the right question, I believe are the reason for the Jewish survival. So therefore, I think it's pretty important, right? So the rabbinic interpretations of this verse, I believe, help save the Jewish people. So what's the verse? It's very famous. Jacob is running away from Esau, and he's alone, and he goes to sleep. He sleeps on a rock because there's nothing else. He's terrified, and he has a dream. Torah says straight out, and he dreamed. They want you to know it's a dream. It's not actually happening. It's a vision. He has a dream, and he saw a stairway, a ladder, set on the ground, and its top reached to the sky. The famous Jacob's ladder, right? It reached to the sky, it began on the ground. And angels of God were going up and down on it. And the rabbis read this verse, and it just like slapped them in the face. There's something wrong here. Angels of the Lord were going up and down. What would you have expected if they're angels of the Lord? They should have been going down and up. All right? Angels of the Lord, they start up there, they come down, they do their work, they do their job, right? And then they go back up. But no, the Torah says the opposite. They start here and they go up. So how is this interpreted? The rabbi said the following. It's two sets of angels, actually. They're here on the ground with Jacob in the land of Israel. And what is Jacob about to do? He has to leave the land of Israel. He's fleeing for his life, literally. All right? So as he's fleeing, these angels who took care of him here in the land of Israel, they go up, and new angels come down to do what? Accompanying him into the exile, back home to where his family was, in Aram Naharaim. So there are angels here in Israel, the rabbi said, protecting him, guiding him. And then when he left Israel, there were angels, a new set, a new team comes in. So why would the rabbi say that? Because they were looking at a Jewish people who had been exiled, defeated, exiled, Jerusalem in ruins, the temple destroyed, most of the Jewish community in exile. And they're asking the question, do we have a future? Do we have a covenant with God? Do we have a connection with God? And the answer the rabbis gave is, yes, of course we do. It's just slightly different. There were, way it was when we were in Israel, those angels, and now we've left, and just like our ancestor Jacob, the angels have accompanied us into Galut, into the exile. But the connection with God is never, ever broken. It just changes. That's what the different angels represent. By doing that, they assured the Jewish people who were sad and depressed, feared for the future, that you absolutely have a future. It's just different. Different angels, different relationship with God, but it continues. So in that way, they gave the Jewish people a sense of security that they could survive outside the land of Israel. And like Jacob, they would return to the land of Israel with a new set of angels. So that's the first interpretation. Yes, the Jewish people have a relationship with God even after you've left the land of Israel through the destruction by Rome and the exile of the vast majority of the Jewish population. Then they gave a second interpretation, totally different, but also critical for Jewish history. They said the following. What it represents is that sometimes nations rise, the angels go up. And sometimes they go down. So what did the rabbis say? We were looking at all these nations that had ascended. Babylonia destroyed Jerusalem. The Greeks enslaved us, tried and turn us into Hellenists, into Greeks. Egypt enslaved us. Persia rose. Rome rose, the nation that destroyed Jerusalem. And throughout history, all these nations that rose and either persecuted, enslaved, or ruled over the Jewish people, what happened to them? They may have gone up, but eventually, they all went down. Babylonia, Greece, Edom, Egypt, Persia, Rome, Nazi Germany, Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran. So what the rabbis did in this interpretation, they said, you've got to look at all of history, not the moment you're in. Not the moment you're in. The moment you're in, there may be a Babylonia, there may be a Greece, there may be a Rome, there may be an October 7th, and they may feel that they've risen, but know that they will always fall, and as Jacob, it'll be his ladder. He's the one who will rise. So interpreted, they gave the Jewish people the power to deal with two things that had destroyed every other nation in history. The first was the loss of your homeland. No people have survived for centuries living outside their own homeland, losing their sovereignty and losing their connection to the land, their physical connection. No people has ever survived that. And no nation has ever outlasted the Jewish people. That's the second lesson. So they gave each and every generations of Jews, and each and every generation has experienced some type of disaster, some type of persecution, some type of loss, that no matter what, they ascend, but they all go down. And only Jacob continues to ascend, and always will ascend, and always be accompanied by Malachei Hasharet, the ones we sing about in Shalom Aleichem. Malachei Elyon, the angels of on high, will accompany us wherever we go. And with those two understandings of world history, the Jewish people have always bounced back, have always recovered from whatever blow we received, and have always ascended with those angels and been able to accomplish what they say in the end of the story, of this dream. God says to him through the angels, you will go westward, eastward, northward, and southward, and through you all the families shall be blessed throughout the entire earth. So the message that he got was the angels are with you here, the angels are with you there, and your job is to spread out and become a blessing unto the nations as much as they might resist it. We are a blessing to the nations, and as a result, we continue our trek through history, this time with a state, this time with an army, this time with many, many powerful, good friends in the world. And like Jacob, we become Yisrael. We become the nation that strives and in the end is victorious. We strive with our own doubts, and we strive with those who doubt us, and eventually we are always Yisrael. We are the ones who survive that battle, come out on top, and become a blessing to the nations of the world. Shabbat Shalom. We're ready for the evening service.